Hey, this is Chris, keeping real facts over medicine. How you doing? So, do you keep antibiotics handy at home? Whether it be a leftover prescription, of course, you know when you get, well, I'm not even going to say anything about taking anything because I might be accused of practicing medicine without a license, so I'm just going to tell you what we do. We keep a bottle of amoxicillin in the freezer at all times. And the reason we do this is because oftentimes we find that we get these minor kind of infections, and rather than have to go to the doctor, we can simply try taking the amoxicillin. And of course, there are books out there that where you can find out if it's a viral infection or a bacterial infection. And you know penicillin or amoxicillin only works on one type of those. So I leave that up to you to find out for yourself too. I also leave it up to you to find out what the appropriate dosage would be. It's generally by body weight. There's a certain amount of amoxicillin per a certain amount of pounds. And there are books that will tell you that, books written by medical professionals that are used by doctors in order to figure out how much of something you're supposed to have. So the last couple of days, Lee has had what I'm going to call an unspecified infection. She woke up with it, and I immediately, she's had this before, and so this wasn't our first rodeo with this, and it's kind of like an ongoing chronic problem that leads to this infection. And so, the last time it happened, this is what we did. We followed a certain procedure, and we followed this procedure again. And so I immediately started her on a round of amoxicillin, and by the next morning, there was no sign that there was an infection. Now, I will say this, it was not a serious infection. There was no fever. There was no clamminess to her skin. I mean, there's a whole list of things that you look for when you have an infection that tells you whether or not it's very serious or not. And again, there are books out there that will tell you what to look for, and when, if you look on the internet and you say, well, I've got this certain problem, everybody's just going to say go to the doctor, and that's good advice. I mean, that's never bad advice to just go ahead and go to the doctor. But I think given the cost of medical care these days, it's worth a shot if this was something in my estimation that was not serious. And so, and having faced it before, we knew exactly what to do. And so that's what we did, and gave her the pills, and so many at such a certain time during the day. She was able to get a good night's sleep that night, and she woke up the next morning and all her pain was gone. And so I call that a win, because we didn't need to go to the doctor. If there had been any kind of indication at all that it was more serious, of course we would have gone. But I always feel like what I've noticed about taking drugs like that is that they work very quickly, and you can tell really within a matter of hours whether it's doing any good. And so that's the way I approach it. I'm not suggesting that you approach it based on anything that I'm saying here. I'm just saying I think it's good to have a supply. I think it's part of, it's just part of being prepared. What if you are in a situation where you can't get to a doctor? It's better to have something that you can try at least than not have anything at all and have to rely on some kind of home remedy, which usually they don't. I've not seen many home remedies that do much good for anything. So where do we get it? We get it at pet stores. You can go online. It's called Fish Mox. So it's generally what it is. It's like if your fish are not doing well. You take a capsule. It's a capsule, not a tablet, and you break it open and you just spread the powder into the water, and then of course the fish ingest it that way. But it is, as far as I know, it is the same strength and quality. It's made in the same place as the regular stuff. And so, because you I don't think you. I know it's just for fish, It's just the label says for fish, but they're not going to sell something that's going to kill your fish, right? So, right. I mean, that's just common sense. So, anyway, there's plenty of places on the internet again. I used to get it on eBay, and I looked the other day, and I couldn't. It wasn't there anymore. So eBay must be cracking down on off-label usage of certain products, and that's the only thing I can think of. But I did manage to find several vet supply stores that were willing to sell to the public, and so that's where I got it. Again, you can look on the internet and find out where they are. But it's good to have a backup. Sometimes it's for the more mundane things like we went through this week, and sometimes it could be a real emergency that you really needed something like right now. And if you can't get to the doctor for whatever reason, let's say there's an ice storm, and somebody gets sick, and well, you think it's a bacterial infection, well, at least you'll have something. Instead of having to try to drive on sheet ice all the way to the hospital, only to find that maybe the doctors aren't there, or any kind of situation where you might be impeded from getting to a medical professional. So that's our story. I mean, that's what we do. That's just part of. We're not preppers exactly, but we do try to foresee what's coming up. We don't like keep a pantry full of survival food or anything, but we keep plenty of food in the house. I mean, that's just part of what FEMA tells you to do, and so we think that's good advice, is to keep. And of course, I don't think they talk about buying fish mocks from a vet store online, but still, I think it's part of all the other things that that you do to try to make sure that you're prepared for whatever eventuality comes about. Okay, so that's it. I know I've made a lot of disclaimers, and again, I'm not a doctor, so please don't take my advice. Find out for yourself. There's plenty of resources out there to find out on the internet. It'll take some time, because we all know that Google would rather sell you something than give you actual information about something. But still, you will find, if you look hard enough, you'll find it, and then you'll find out what I'm talking about, and then you can make a decision about what you want to do. Okay? All right. Well, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate when you do, and we'll see you on the next. Well, we probably won't do another medical video unless we talk about how to set broken bones or something. But I've never had to do that, thank goodness. So probably won't have another one of these, but maybe. You never know. All right. We'll see you on the next video.